experience, confidence. With improved technique and knowledge comes confidence, and you learn how to play faster. And he's in a role where now he's one of the older statesmen in the room, and people are looking up to him. So he was reminded today I have to hold him to a high standard all the time, and cannot allow his standard to drop, because if one of those guys is, same with Hobb and those guys last year, if I let their standard drop, then the standard isn't what you preach, it's what you tolerate. I stole that, Jocko Willink, but it is real, so I have to hold him to the highest of standards.
How does he respond to your criticism?
Good. I mean, sometimes, like all young men, sometimes they'll get in their feelings, and I'll remind them, listen, this isn't personal. I'm making sure that you live up to what your dreams are, and it has to be that all the time.
What do you consider as a standard?
Well, it ties into effort now. I mean, that's a broad stroke question right there. What do I consider a standard? There's a standard of effort. There's a standard of knowledge. There's a standard of how much time you put out outside of required time. There's a standard of how you respond to teammates. There's standards can go all over the place. But at the end of the day, we all know what's right. We all know what's wrong. And that can be from how I execute a blitz to how I talk to a teammate in a moment that's a volatile moment. All those things you can say that's not our standard, or great job, that is our standard.
Charlie, will he excel, do you think, in that role?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's like all players that get thrust into that role at some point in their career, there's going to be learning moments, and I think he has the personality to do it, and as long as he's able to maintain and control his feelings get us all in trouble, right, guys? Okay, if he can control and maintain his feelings, then he's going to be fine.
In your time here, who's been the standard champion among all your guys, the guys who met the standard and all
Since I've been back,
all those different categories?
all of them at times. Nobody's perfect. Jerry, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. You're not at all perfect, Jerry.
I know.
But listen, none of us are perfect. I could really pick anyone in the room currently or that has been through here and point to a certain time where they really did a great job in a certain moment. Desmond is a guy that's ringing in my brain right now, just on how he operated and the effort that he played with. And I think at times he overachieved just with pure effort. That's an example. And we all know what he did in the community. He's a special young man. That's an example.
Go ahead.
Throughout the spring, we've heard tales of the Ghost. How has he kind of separated himself, and how does he stand out as a guy that's just coming in and new to all this?
Sure, you took an assumption was separated himself, right? But no, he's come in and he's done a nice job. He's got prom, I think, coming up on the 18th or something. So, but for a guy who's really technically still a high school-aged young man, what stands out about Ghost is he's really smart. He pays attention to details. His knowledge base, and everyone in the room would nod to this statement quickly, is way ahead of the curve. He just needs the strength development, and it's different when you're right in the middle. I mean, you got to deal with double teams as a 3 technique, and those are some of the things that he's working to get better. And again, I'll check the film, but I think he may have had one of his best days of fighting those double teams today, which is great to see. And the thing he understands, I don't mean to ramble, but all guys, when they come in, there's boxes to check, and some kids don't process what I'm saying when I say that. He can check a box, have that skill learned, and move on. That's going to help his progress be quicker than most.
So he literally is fighting double teams one day and going to the prom the next?
I mean, again, there's times where it's not perfect, Jerry, but you see improvement when he's fighting those double teams on a daily basis. Yeah.
Is it different this year for you as coach when you've had the veterans that you had that are now getting ready for the NFL draft for so long? Is that a different challenge to coach a room without those guys who've been there for a while?
Yeah, I think you probably asked me the same question when Pat Jones and Rashad Weaver were leaving, right? I mean, every single year is different for different reasons. What are we surrounded by? Last year we had Bengali, who I think did a great job, and us making sure that we do a good job of helping him last year, that presents a challenge. Like you said, losing Kalijah, losing Haba, losing Deslin. Chris Maloney, guys, did some really good things for us. Losing those 4 guys in the room, that's a challenge. Every day, every year, there's different challenges. So sure, this year has its challenges.
It's only every few years, though, when you have this much turnover. And you've had it before. I mean, like you mentioned Patrick,
Sure.
Rashad, and stuff like that. Is there a certain level of excitement of like, okay, I'm going to see this next crop, or is it kind of balanced out by sort of trepidation that you don't know?
That's a good question, and I don't want to go too deep in layers here, but one of the things that COVID has created, it's forced some kids to learn to be patient, right? So you have Deslin, who comes back because he got the extra year. Nakai and some of those guys who we're all anxious to see get out there. It's going to be tough for them to maybe hop past a kid who's in his 5th or 6th year that came back because they had an extra year. But to your point, they're I am excited to see Nakai, Sam Okunlola, some of these guys that we've all been anxious to see, and I'm excited about what they're doing. But you still have Nate Temple, Bam Brima, you have the 3 6-year D tackles. So it's a nice mix of veterans and new guys that are learning how to play the game consistently.
What have you seen different from Sean Fitzsimmons?
He really just keeps getting better every day. He's playing with confidence. That's a kid who does a great job against double teams. There's a skill, I won't bore you with technique stuff, but getting your shoulders through a very narrow crack with about 620 pounds coming at you, but still keeping your hips moving a certain way. He has a gift of doing that, and he's been able to learn how to use that to his advantage. It's been fun to see.
Charlie, Dan was saying that Sam is the guy that's really impressed. What has stepped up, or what has he shown you?
He's so twitchy, and he's now learning how to use his twitch and his quickness. He's gotten stronger, which he definitely needed to do when he got in here. He works really hard to learn the playbook, learn the offense, what all the different formations and those things mean, what the process he's working through now. He has all this knowledge. You ever see that gif where you have the guy standing there and all the math, things? That's a little bit where he is right now. He has all this information in his head, and there's a pause, right? And as that all starts moving faster, there's going to be a point. Pat Jones had a point like this, and I'll never forget it. We were at Notre Dame. We played him really close, and then we went on. I think that was the year. I think it was 18 when we went and won the Coastal and lost to Clemson in the championship. But there was a play against Notre Dame where it all clicked for Pat, and I knew from that play forward Pat was going to take a jump. I think that Sam is on the threshold of that, if that makes sense.
You have the 3, like you mentioned, 6-year defensive tackles.
Yes.
And then you have, DeAndre Jules, Fitzsimmons, we
Yep.
talked about, Elliott Donald. I mean, how is that position just sort of sorting itself out? I mean,
Yeah, the 3 6-year guys are actually doing an outstanding job. Jules is having the best spring that he's had. You asked about Fitzsimmons. He's doing a really nice job. Elliott, we cross-trained him a little bit this spring. He's done some end and some tackle to create some additional opportunities for him to get on the field because he is capable of playing outside. We'd probably protect him by putting him into the boundary a little bit more if he's into that position. But all of them, the tide is rising in that group, and it's fun to see the competition.
Who's usually the first person to show up at practice?
I'll go to meeting rooms.
Meeting.
Honestly, yeah. So it's 2 guys consistently this spring. It's easy to answer. It's Devin Danielson and Jimmy Scott. And it was a fascinating moment. We were outside of meetings, not required, guys in there getting some extra stuff, and Coach Dews came in and had like a mini board challenge with Jimmy Scott. And Jimmy didn't perform in that moment the way he wanted to with Dews. He'd fire for him, whatever, right? He fired some questions at him. From that moment forward, Jimmy's been in every day, just about the same time. You're talking 6:15. Those 2 are rolling into the meeting room early, and it's really helped Jimmy. We really haven't talked about Jimmy. Jimmy has heavy hands. Jimmy's quick. I think most of you know he played running back in high school. All those talents are starting to show up, and when it clicks, he's going to be a guy that you're going to see this jump, and it's coming soon. It's fun to see.
Wanted to ask about SirVocea with what he was able to do at Pro Day. What's the one trait or one tool that he has that you think is the most translatable to the next level, and just your overall thoughts on him as a prospect for the NFL?
Yeah, the jumps and all those things speak for themselves, but to answer your question, it's his instincts. That kid really had tremendous. You think about the pick 6 against Clemson. So there's a lot of plays like that maybe aren't as obvious as that. He has tremendous instincts where he can put. He's a kid that whether he even knows it or not, he's reading his keys and he can actually feel what all 21 other guys on the field are doing around him. Tremendous instincts, and that'll carry over well in the NFL.
Does not doing the draft give you a different way to approach this with the spring game instead of coaching, blue and gold team? You get to just focus on all your D-line.
It does, and I'm excited about that opportunity, to be honest with you. And it's going to allow me to roll different guys with the ones. It's going to feel a little bit more game-like to me, even though you don't have that pause while you're on the sideline. It's constant, but I'm going to be able to roll different groups together. I'm going to be able to let guys go for a little bit longer in a series. Like one of Daion's challenges right now is, and he would tell you this in the UCLA game, and I'm calling him 30-play Deion right now, right? And he's proven me wrong, but this spring, 30 plays, he started to kind of slow down a little bit in the UCLA game. And I need to see him, all the kids ask me, Coach, how can I, Jalen Twyman, Coach, how can I play 60 plays a game? Prove to me that on play 40, I'm not able to take you out on the field, from off the field. And that's what Daon's challenge is right now, and I'm going to be able to create some of those moments on Saturday with everybody.
Anything final for
Will
Coach?
there be actual 3 and outs and then a punt in the game? Or
To my understanding, yes, but you'll have to ask the big wood office that one. I don't know. We'll play.